I have a New York University professor, NYU. So he's got to know his stuff. His name is Scott Galloway. And he is saying that he believes colleges need to start teaching what he calls mating dynamics. That sounds a little frightening based off of the name.
Sounds a bit scary.
It does. But what he's saying is that particularly for young men, college age, that we need to learn the skills of how to approach women.
Everybody's trying to sell a course on this anyway on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like, I can be your approaching woman coach.
Your love guru.
Let me give you some lines.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's not the lines. This guy says, this is the quote from him, approaching women and making them feel safe is a skill. And according to him, the continual rise of porn and how easy it is to access, along with, he also mentions AI sex bots and just, there's a lot of things.
A lot of competition, apparently. He thinks so. I mean, Scott, I don't know if I want you to teach me already.
Yeah.
From where your head's at, I don't know if Scott wants Scott teaching me the ropes.
What he's saying is,
it sounds as if he might have a skewed view.
More and more, it is easier for guys to enter into low-entry, low-risk relationships. And those actual relationships, though, they don't give you much in return. It's one of those, they temporarily satisfy you type things, but they don't set you up for success in life. You're not getting anything out of them. And it leads to loneliness and depression. So what he's saying is he's just an advocate for, in general, getting out, meeting people in real life, not bed rotting, essentially. But he says it's kind of a lost art that people are, especially guys, are losing the ability to form relationships with people, particularly women. And it's very detrimental to our society. And he thinks colleges need to start teaching. If somebody's got to do it. And so since he's, I guess, a New York University professor, might as well be college. Start teaching guys how to approach women.
Sounds like a terrible idea.
You think that's a bad idea? Why do you say that?
Because imagine sitting down in a classroom where there's a however old man telling you about approaching women. I mean, it's just like, I think it's a wild concept. In what world do you know what the heck you're talking about?
Well, how do you know it's going to be an old man?
I'm not saying it's going to be an old man. I'm just saying there's no perfect way to do it. There's no way that's like across the board, like this is how you approach women.
Do you agree that guys are getting worse at it?
I don't think so. I think some people are bad at it, but I've seen people in action do a fantastic job.
I know that there's some people that naturally are good at it. Some people that are taught. I think this is such a cop-out in a way. I always feel this, but saying that parents need to teach, like your dad needs to get in there and start teaching you a little bit. Is one of the things. I don't know
what is the teach though. I think it's a game of figuring out what your thing is. Because what's going to work for me is never going to work for someone else. And what's going to work for someone else is never going to work for me. And so I think it's a trial and error. I think you have to go out there and you just got to do it.
But I think what he's saying is that there's not a lot of trial going on anymore.
People aren't introducing themselves to one another.
Yeah. I think that's the idea. So,
but as you taking this class, is that going to give you the opportunity to approach more people?
I think it's going to
maybe instill confidence in some.
Instill confidence and just, again, encourage people to try to start relationships in a more healthy way. Just get out there and do something and do the trial and error, if nothing else, as opposed to just sitting at home and maybe just swiping all day long. Or
you know what I would say instead? I would say at the age of like 9 years old, you start going to Wendy's and you start ordering for yourself.
Yeah.
You start answering the home phone when it's called. Yeah. And that's how you truly.
That's how you learn.
That's how you learn. That's just that's day-to-day social skills.
I'm with you, but see, this is why it's a problem.
Force your children to order their own food and force them to answer the phone at home and force them to talk to people when you have to introduce them to them at a young age.
I like all of that.
If you like that video, there's a ton more. Go check out our past videos and subscribe so you don't miss what we do next.